Testing, 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 testing. Hello, everyone. Let me just quickly set up for a little bit. Mic is set up. Obviously, my webcam is set. As for where does it say here about microphone? Okay, well, it doesn't matter about the microphone. I think that um, I am hearable for most of you. I think I'll try and set the mic right here. Yep, perfect. All right. So dashboard. I'll have to deny this for now. We don't need the entire screen. All right. Well, we'll get started in about 1 minute. Till it's 10:35, which will be in about less than a minute now. Um, you know what? Let me turn this fan off. There. I don't want that to get all really weary behind you guys. All right. So anyway, um, okay, it's 10:35, so now we can get started. So for those of you coming in and for those of you watching later on, welcome to my next live stream today on June 7th, 2024 at 10:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Uh, so a lot has been happening lately, but we are here today to be discussing the new Disney Plus series, Star Wars: The Acolyte. So we're going to be going over some topics today. First are my first reactions and thoughts of the pilot episodes, the casting, acting, cinematography, and special effects, the plot and the script, and my recommendation and final thoughts, of course, for this two-part pilot episode. So, with that being said, let's get into the first topic of my first reactions and thoughts of the pilot. So, my first reaction on this pilot two-part episode of the Acolyte was very surprising, and I felt very excited from watching the intro scene before the title screen that started the episode. My thought was, I can definitely tell this is going to focus mostly on the backgrounds and themes of both Jedi and Sith. My final biggest reaction on this pilot was realizing that one of the main focus characters in the intro scene had killed the Jedi Master. I'm like, wow, okay. But then later on seemed to be a good character. But then I realized, of course, in the episode, it reveals, some answers. I realized later on that one of the actresses seemed to have a double role in the series, like maybe portraying a twin, or in this case, an identical sister. So, those are my reactions and thoughts of this pilot episode that I know of at this time. So, now on to the next topic about casting and acting. So, as for the casting and acting is concerned, is yeah, how would I word that? As far as the acting and casting is concerned, I would say in general that it had a good cast selection of actors and actresses. I did not recognize most of these actors, but one actor that stood out to me the most that I did recognize was Amanda Stenberg, who played May, one of the main focus protagonists. According to her acting film history, you may have seen her before in the first Hunger Games movie back in 2012. As we know, that was supposedly her first film debut that started her acting career. My goodness, can you all believe that it was exactly 12 years ago? I mean, gee, where has the time gone? As for the other actors, I was very impressed with their acting, and I hope to see them in other films down the road. I didn't see any signs of poor acting or any points of criticism to the actors, so I will say casting and acting in general was very well done. So I think that's all I have to say about the casting and the acting. Um, let's see what we have so far. We have still no viewers. Well, that's okay. It's only 6.5 minutes in. Um, chat live chat is open, so any of you tuned in now, please leave your chat below. Um, if you're going to see this later, please leave down a comment. They will be read. So, um, what was the next topic? I'm going through my notes. Oh, yes. Um, cinematography and special effects. Now, this is a huge, huge section that I have to talk about. Okay. So, the cinematography, I thought in general was also very well done. I did not notice any scenes that were like too jerky, too rough, too speedy to get you like motion sick, or too much of the very same cutscene transition. Every scene was shot in a difficult, unique perspective, and it did not seem like lazy filming at all. You can definitely tell this was a well budgeted series and then not have to worry about making the quality so simplified to save money. I mean, it is Disney after all, so we always have known the history of Disney gambling with their money. Disney was known to be high spenders and gamblers with their projects because that was Walt Disney himself's vision way back in the day. And Disney today still carries on that dream of his to push and get the job, dream, or vision done. And the special effects were done very well also. The visual effects of the weapons, especially the lightsabers, were very standard and okay to me, but I still wish it had the epic quality of the effects used by Lucasfilms and his crew, because, like what most Lucasfilm Star Wars fans criticize out there on Disney's Star Wars projects, they always say Disney does not know lightsabers like George Lucas's crew did. So, like, you can still tell there is a visual difference in the lightsaber's visual quality on the six films done by Lucas's crew compared to Disney's visual effects department. So maybe Disney has not either figured out what the industrial light and magic trick was to create the lightsaber effect by scratch, or probably Disney just doesn't know it, but or probably Disney does know it, but understands it would cost more to put more detailed work into it, and it would just take a longer time to complete. I mean, George and his crew spent countless years making um these like prequel movies in his prequel trilogy come to life because it was state of the art tech that had caught up. Technology and machinery was better. Effects came out that were more better on digital rather than analog and film strips. So obviously it wasn't as like headachy, but it was still a lot of hard work of hours of work put into it. So I've also noticed that there were a lot more yellow color lightsabers being used, which in the Jedi Star Wars books, according to that, it means neutrality or a Jedi temple guard. I suppose in this time, during their so called peace era before the war, the yellow blades could have meant Jedi or those things, but I suppose neutrality was not a known thing at this time because there were no sides to pick or end up on like Sith or Jedi because the Sith were still extinct during their millennium. But those are just my thoughts. You guys may have different thoughts about the Jedi and the Sith and the yellow color blades, but Star Wars sure is a great science fiction mystery after all. So that was about my visual effects and cinematography. So now on to the plot and the script. So as we know, the plot of this series, as we know so far, is about a former Padawan reuniting with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but then discovers the forces that they have to confront are more sinister than they have ever anticipated or guessed. This is where the excitement of wanting to watch what happens next really stirs within me. This is probably a clue that we could adopt to this is a clue that we could adapt or adopt to have us make a conclusion or rumor that these crimes rising are what caused the Jedi and the Republic to prepare for the upcoming conflict 100 years later with the events of the Phantom Menace when the droid armies of the Trade Federation invaded Naboo, causing a divide in the galaxy with the Republic loyalists and democracy, or the Separatists and the Sith. It comes to show you that even the smallest little conflicts or crimes that occur can cause such great division like this with people's different opinions and views of an event because most of the time they don't know the entire truth. So they are led to believe in the truth as something else, but it can also be out of fear. People don't want to admit it's the truth, so they make up lies instead. The script of the pilot episode has, as you can tell from this discussion, has really moved me because I can definitely tell that the main Jedi Master character was just trying to help retrieve the child he was going after that he could not save from the fire many years ago before this event of time. Perhaps he was trying to make amends with her and to persuade her to stop these crimes of going after Jedi, specifically four of them, and killing them for revenge. I mean, if the Sith were known at this time out of their extinction, she could have been a possible candidate for the Sith. So, I mean, after all, the plot and script was really well thought of, with many themes of internal conflicts involved, and possibly down the line in this series, we may have an idea or get to see how she becomes these conflicts and deals with it. So, again, well done. So, on to the final topic of my recommendation and final thoughts. So, that is just about it. But before we end this stream, I would like to give you all my final thought and recommendation. My final thoughts in general of the series are well done, great acting, great story, okay visual effects, and even some good selections of music for their backgrounds that fit well with every scene. It was well done too. I forgot to mention that earlier. So, my recommendation I give to you all on the series is that if you are a Star Wars fan from way back in the day, this probably would not be a series for you. But if you are a more modern generation Star Wars fan by Disney and not Lucasfilm, then maybe this is definitely um, a show for you. I mean, I am both a Lucasfilm Star Wars fan and a Disney Star Wars fan, so I'm like a hybrid. I typically enjoyed this part two pilot episode, and I can't wait to see more throughout this season. And just as a quick reminder to all of you, a little update announcement is that I'm planning to do a live stream sometime every week to do a discussion and or review like this of every new episode that comes out throughout this season 1. It's still not confirmed that there will be a season 2 of this series according to online and IMDb, but it's still being discussed and possibly planned if they decide to go along forward with it. So again, the Disney Plus series of Star Wars, The Acolyte, has a new episode that airs on there every Tuesday on Plus. So if you have it, watch it. And thanks again for tuning in for those of you who have watched this live. If you've missed this, do not worry. You can watch this again archived in my lives playlist on my channel. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all live again next week sometime for episode 3. An official release time for the live will be provided soon. Thank you.